Hello students, welcome to the Python Development Workshop Day 2. I hope everybody will be good. We'll start in the next few seconds. May I know whether am I audible or not? Till then I'll present my screen to you. Okay. Okay, thank you. So yesterday we covered few topics. The topics were the basic understanding of the compiler interpreter and the memory usage, about the variables, we learn about the comment sections, then we learn about the sky values, we also learn about the functions in Python, then we learn about the conditional statements in Python. May then we come on to the data types in Python. The one data type that we discussed was the list, and we will continue with the list today also. May I know if there is any doubt from the previous session? If there is any doubt, we can take up the doubt first and then we will proceed with the session. Okay, so if we have no doubts, then we can proceed further. Okay, so coming on to the list. List is a data type in Python that can store values of different data types such as integer, or float, string value, boolean value, or etc. We can store a list also inside a list. Now, we also saw that the list is a mutable data type. Mutable data type, that means you can change the values, you can add the values, you can remove the values, you can have the multiple values inside a list. Now, list is orderable, that means the elements inside a list have got indexes that can be modified and can contain the duplicate data. That means if you have a particular element inside a list, then you can also have the similar, you can have the same values inside the list. There is no problem with it. Now, we can access the items of the list using the indexes. The indexes basically starts from the 0 and go till up the n minus 1, where n is your total number of items in the list. If you see the back indexing, we will find the very last element is going to have the index minus 1. Then the second last element is going to have the minus 2, and similarly it goes until the first element. So the first element will have the index 0 and the last element is going to have the index minus 1. Now if I see how you can create an empty list inside a Python, then we see that we use the list constructor. List constructor is a way that you can create an empty list and then later on you can append some of the elements inside that list. Now if I see here, I have a my list as a list option. Now this my list has no element inside it. It is an empty list. Now if I come to see that now my list has assigned some of the values inside it. The values are red, blue and green. There are three elements. The red has got the index 0, the blue has got the index 1 and the green has got the index 2. Similarly, if I consider the constructor list, this is the name of the list and it is considered using the list constructor that I told you previously. Test1, test2 and test3 are basically includes inside the parenthesis and is not a list. Now how you can convert this data into a list using the list constructor. Now if I see here, my list 1 is now equal to my list. That means I have copied the contents of my list into my list 1. The elements are not copied. The statement says that both my list and the my list 1 are pointing to the same object. Now if I see the other list, that is the students, it has got 4 sublists inside it. One is 1 comma 2 comma Akhil, 3 comma Preeti and 4 comma Shoaib. So these is a list. These are itself the list and the contained inside the other list. Now we see how you can iterate using the for loop on a list. Suppose you want to get all the elements of a list. Now if I consider student is equals to Amit, Akhil, Preeti and Shoaib, for that you can have the for loop. The for loop basically stands for the iteration. Here student is an iterable variable inside the students. For each value, for each of this loop, you will have a separate value for the student. First, you're going to have the index 0 where you can have the name Amit. Now we will have the enumerate. This is a function to iterate on the collection with indexes. Similarly, you can also use the for loop here. Now, if I see some of the functions of the list, some of the functions of the list are length. Length is a function of the list that basically returns the number of items inside the list. My list.append function is going to add an item in the very last position. Later we will see how you can add a particular item at a particular index, but for the timing you can have that my list.append is going to add that single item in the very last position of the list. Now my list.extend function is going to extend is going to add this sub list into the list at the very last position. Now mylist.count is going to count how many times particular this element 3 has occurred inside the list. For if you take this example, the 3 has occurred only once, this will result into a 1. Now if I see mylist.pop, this is going to remove the very last item, like is going to remove the item that is at the index 0. Mylist.remove, it is going to remove the complete, is like going to remove the item from that list. Suppose you want to remove any item, then you can remove it using the mylist.remove function. Now this is not reserved, this is a reverse function. Mylist.reverse function is basically going to remove, like is going to reverse the list. The very first element is going to become the last element of the list, and similarly the switching case will happen. Now if I see the list functions, we have few more list functions with us. If I say I have mylist.clear, this is going to completely empty the list and there will be no element left inside the list. Now if I say del mylist start end and increment, this is going to delete your elements from the index start index to the end index with the increment of the increment factor. Now if I say delete my list, is going to remove all the lists and your list will be deleted. No memory will be allocated to this particular name list. Now we will see how you can how you can insert a particular element at the particular index. Suppose you want to insert the word hello at the index 1. Then you can do it using the uh, insert function with the parameter first as the index, at what index you want to insert the value, followed by the value you want to insert at that particular index. Now we will see the sorting. The sorting basically by default is done in ascending order. That means if you write mylist.sort, is going to sort of the values in ascending order. Suppose you want the result to be in descending order, you can simply you can just have the reverse parameter set as true in the sort function. Similarly, you can sort it using any of the parameters like your function, like your maximum, minimum, your length of the list. Anyways, any doubt till here, students? If any have any doubt till here, please speak up. Else we'll continue with the list comprehension. Okay, so if you have no doubt, then we'll continue here. Okay. So, list comprehension is basically about how you can apply the conditions and extract the values from the list. Expression for val in collection. This is for how many values you want in a particular collection. Now, if I say you want the values only if this particular condition is true, Similarly, if you want the values if both of these condition is true. Now, if you want the like values in from the collection 1, then for the nested collection you need the another for loop. Basically, this we'll discuss in the loop section, but this is what about is expressing in a nested loop form. Now, if we see, we have an expression 1. If condition is true, else we have the expression 2. And that expression has got this nested loop options. Now, we similarly have for the expression 1, if condition 1 is true, else we have the expression 2 for the condition, or else we have the expression 3. So, this else has got the nested if else inside it. Okay. So the expression will basically generate all the elements inside your list. For val and collection, will iterate over of will iterate over all the collection items. If condition will check whether the condition over check for the condition in the items in the list. Those only items will be forwarded which satisfies the condition. So the basic thing that you should keep in mind, just for the sake of of the learning you can have, that you're not allowed to use elif statement. In place of that, you can use the multiple if else options. Okay, now if I see the list copy, so you will see that here we have a new list which has the same value as the my list. This will have new reference of my list in the memory location. Now we have new list is equal to mylist.copy. This will copy the list to a new memory location of the shallow copy. This is basically just both of them are referring to the same memory location. But this statement is going to allocate a new memory location to this new list data. The import copy is going to import the copy module of the Python. Now if I see new list 1 is equals to copy.copy old list. This This will basically copy all your objects, all your items, excluding the nested objects. Whatever the nested objects you have, like there are some lists inside a list, it will exclude them and else copy all the items. Suppose if I say we have a new list one, new list is equal to copy.deep copy is going to copy all the objects, including the nested objects. Now we have the lambda expression. Lambda expression we will also discuss it in the function section, but we'll discuss some of the part here. So the lambda expression is used to create the anonymous functions without name where def keyword is not used. So for your knowledge, I will suggest here that for creating functions in Python, like creating user-defined functions in Python, you are required to use the def keyword. This def keyword is mandatory whenever you create the function so that the compiler understands that this is a body of the function. Now similarly, lambda expression is a way of declaring a function which has got no name, and here def keyword is also not used. So you can use the type function to check the type. Lambda functions can take any number of parameters but can return the single value. So the major drawback with the lambda function is that lambda functions can take any number of parameters, like you can have the numerous number of parameters. When it comes to returning the value of the function, it will return only the single value of the function. Now lambda functions are syntactically restricted to a single expression. That means you can only have a single expression defined inside the lambda expression. Now if I say what is the basic syntax of lambda expression, you will have lambda arguments colon expression. Suppose for this lambda argument, you have a particular expression defined. For example, if I say if you want to define a square of a number, we say lamb square is a function and lambda is a keyword here which has got the parameter x and has the function or the expression defined, that is x square. This creates an anonymous function which has got the name lamb square function. And to return and to use this function, we'll basically call it as lamb square function 5. This will return the square of a 5. Any doubt till here? If you have any doubt till here, please say. Okay, so if you have no doubt, then we'll continue further. Okay, coming on to the lambda expression with map. So map is a built-in instruction function which takes two arguments, a function and an iterable. Inside table, as I mentioned here, is it can be a list or a tuple. Tuple we'll discuss today itself. It's also a data type that has multiple data entries, but it does not allow the duplicate values. Now the map will perform the operation of a function on each element in the iterable and return map object as output. Output needs to use list or tuple to see the desired output. Now if I see, I just have got this map. This is the keyword here. Now we have a function and iterables as a parameter inside it. Now suppose I have a list defined 1 to 5. Now here your output is map, that is lambda of x, that is x squared. This is a lambda expression defined, and this is a list that basically has got the elements 1 to 5. Now this will lambda function will map each element of the list and will like hold the values. So the another list that will be output will have the square of these numbers. Okay, so coming here, if I see what is a lambda function or the lambda expression with a filter. Filter function provides you the conditional operations on list items. So how you can provide the conditions with the operations on the list? The filter function will provide that. If any element in the iterable will satisfy the condition, then as output include that element or none will be output. Okay. If a particular condition will be satisfied, then all those elements that will satisfy the condition will be displayed. Else, your like nothing will be like displayed as the output. If return the filter object, we need to use the list or the tuple function to get the desired output. So similarly, if you want to display all the received outputs, you need to convert it into the list or the tuple. Similarly, if I say here this is a list defined, and here are the list, we have the filter function defined, we have the lambda x, where we have the condition when x is divisible with 2, then you have to display it. So only 2 and 4 satisfies this condition, and hence they are displayed in the output section. Now lambda expression with reduce function. The reduce function is basically used to perform the operation on each element in the list and give the output as a single value. So whenever you want to perform the operation on each element and you want to give the output as a single value, you do not want many values, you want the output to be the single value, we simply use the reduce function. It takes two mandatory arguments functions and sequence and one optional argument as initial value, which is useful when sequence is empty, else error will come. We need to import the function tools module for reduce. So whenever you want to use the reduce function, you need to import the function tool modules. So this is basically the example where we have a function defined x comma y. We have to return x plus y, and we have the list function where it contains the value 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, if I say I have another list one created that is empty right now, and I have imported the function tools module as ft. Suppose if I want to like import this module, will simply write the module name with the function that you want to use. Suppose I want to use the reduce function here. So it's ft.reduce. We have lambda function defined x comma y that basically returns the x plus y value, and we have the list, and the output will be 15. So this was about the list. We will continue with the practical part. Till there, anybody is having any doubt? If you have any doubt, please say it. Okay, if you have no doubt, then we'll proceed. Suppose I have the list as A equal to, sorry, yeah, 10, 20, 30, 50. Okay. So this is our list and a parenthesis. Then A. Now just simply present that. Okay, so the list is printed. Now if you want to change the second element of a list, I'll simply write the name of the list with the index. I want the second element has got the index 1. I want to change it to 26, let's say. Let's press enter. And just print this list to see whether the changes have been made or not. Okay, so the changes have been made. Your 20 is now replaced with the 23. Now you will see how you can remove the elements from the list. Suppose I have, okay, suppose I say e dot remove 30. Okay. And I'll just print this to see whether the changes have been made or not. Okay, yeah, the changes have been made or 30 value has not been removed. Now if I want to remove the element at the index 1, I simply say a dot pop. Okay, so the element 20 has been removed. If I print this list, it's 10 comma 50. Okay, now if you want to delete the entire list, you can simply have the function del e. John, now list will be deleted. If I say print this, name error a is not defined. Okay, now we will see how you can iterate over the list. Suppose I have equal to 20, okay, so if I say I'll just write for I j print I. So this has given me all the items inside the list. This was how you can iterate over the list. Now we'll see sorting in a list. If I write a dot sort and just print it. So this is sort. Basically our list was already sorted. So you can see this has sorted our list. Now if I want to do it in the reverse order, let's say I'll just have reverse equals to 2. Okay. Reverse is equals to 2. I don't know what's the problem, but it is. Acha, acha, sorry. Okay, got it. this has sorted our list. And now in this way you can display your result in the descending order. Now we'll see several operations that we can perform on list. Suppose I have a list is okay. Now a list E. Okay. I'll simply say C equals to A plus B and I'll print this C. So this will merge the two lists and assign the new result into a new list C. Now we will use this reverse function. I say write A dot reverse and say C here. The new is dot reverse. Okay. I'll print the C now. So this has basically reversed the list. So I'll just simply say A only reverse. The double operation will be performed again. Okay, so your list is not reversed. In this way, you can reverse the items in a list. Now, the very basic thing that we do is that list allows the duplicate values. So, how you can remove the duplicate values? Suppose I have a list here. It was one, two. So this is my list. If I want to remove the duplicate items in my list, I need to remember that there's this data type in Python called set. This data type in Python in sets basically does not allow the duplicate values inside the Python. So you can convert your list into the set first, and then you can convert that result from the set data set to the list again. Now, if I say so, all the duplicate values from your list will be removed. Now, suppose that I have a list A, okay, and I want to replace the value of 2 with the 35. So 2 has got the index what? 1. And 35 has got the index 1, 0, 1, 2 and 3. Okay. 3. And we have got the indexes. And we'll just print this A to see whether it's working or not. Yeah, it's working. So the values have got exchanged. But I'll simply take here the duplicate one. So I'll just have the B here. If I have the B here, okay, so the values have been exchanged. Now we will see how you can have the metrics defined inside the list. The metrics inside the list are basically the two-dimensional list. Matrix. If we define the matrix inside we'll have the two functions. We have the list inside the list. We'll have 1 comma 2 comma 3. Okay. Now if I have the another list defined here, I'll say 4 comma 5 comma 6. Then we have the 7 comma 8 comma 9 defined. Now this is our list. If I print this matrix here, I'm calling this list as the matrix. This is the nested list, or you can say the multi-dimensional arrays. So if I call this, okay. So this is our list. Now how you can access the items inside the list? We'll say print. Whatever is the name of the list, it is matrix here. We'll have the two indexes defined here. First index is for the defining which sublist you want to access. So this sublist has got the index 0, this sublist has got the index 1, this sublist has got the index 2. Suppose I want to index the very first sublist, that is 0. Now the second index is for the element inside that list. 1 has got the element 0, 2 has got the element 1, 2 has got the index 1, 3 has got the index 2. Similarly, for the case of 4, we have got the index 2, sorry, 0, 5, 4, 1, and then 6 has got the index 2. So if I save, I just want to write it 0. Suppose if I save, this is 1. This should print me the 4th. So it's had printed me the 4th. If I say the 2. So it should print me the 7. Okay. So this is how you can basically like get the values from the multidimensional list or the arrays. Now, if you want to append anything, suppose I want to append, I'll say simply matrix dot append. I'll say 21, 22, 23. Okay, and I'll just print this matrix to see whether it has been appended or not. Okay, so 21, 22, and 23 elements have been added at the very last position of the matrix. Now, if I see the reverse, so the reverse function entirely does not work upon the multidimensional list or the arrays, but similarly you can see that you can reverse a particular item. Suppose you want to reverse the very first sublist. 0. Reverse. Okay, just simply have this. Okay, I just prompt this. Okay, so A here is the matrix. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So the elements of the first sublist has got the reverse. Any doubts still here? So this was all about how we can have the multiple functions and other things defined inside the a list. We have discussed all about the functions. We have discussed all the related theories. Now, if you have any doubt here, you can please ask. Else, we will continue with the loops. Okay, okay. If you have no doubt, please, if you have any doubt, please try to ask here because I don't want to be a monologue. I'm not in the focus here. Okay. Now, if I come on to the loops in Python, we have got two types of loops in Python. First loop is the for loop, and the other one is the while loop. Now, loops are basically used to execute a block of code number of times, or repeatedly you can say. Whenever you want a particular block of code or the instructions to be executed, like repeatedly or n number of times, or for a particular condition is satisfied, you need to use the loops. So Python, in basically we have two types of loops. One we have for loop and the other one we have while loop. For loop is an iterable loop, that means you can run it for n number of times. A while loop does not have any fixed iterations but will run until a particular condition is satisfied. Now, why do we consider loops? Loops are basically used to reduce the code repetition and make the program more efficient. To make the program more efficient and like we do not have to write a particular instructions again and again, we use the loops. Somebody in the can somebody tell me that do we have the do while loop in Python? Okay, I don't think people are interested in answering for me. So when we consider the loops, we don't have the do while loop in Python, but we have do while loop in C. We have in C++. What is the basic idea behind the do while loop is that do while loop will at least run once. Your while loop will run only when a particular condition will be satisfied. That means if in the first iteration your condition get false, that loop will not run any number of times. But if you want a particular loop to at least run once, you should use their do while loop. Now, if I come back to the for loops in Python, we can use the for loops in Python to iterate over a sequence such as we saw in the list in which is in the tuples and the string sections also. You can use them. Now, if you want to have the syntax there, so we have the for keyword here. For is a keyword that shows that you are going to use the for loop here. Iterum is an iterable variable. In is again the membership operator here. And the sequence is any type of sequence. It can be your name of the list, name of your tuple, dictionary, anything that you want to iterate on. Now we have certain instructions defined under it. Whatever particular instructions that you want to perform on each item of that sequence, you need to mention there. And if I see the example, I have that for a particular list, I have several data items inside it, and I need to perform any operation, or just want to simply print the values inside, all inside. So I'll just have to use the for loop in membership operator, and you can print the values. Also, I need to mention here that for loop will not be available when you want a loop to run but till the condition is satisfied. If you want to use such type of loop, you always need to use the while loop. Now, if I consider the second type of loop, that is the while loop in Python, we will see we will see that the number of iterations in the while loop is not fixed. The while loop will run any number of times till your condition is satisfied. If a condition becomes false in the very first iteration, this loop will not work. If you see the syntax of the while loop, we have while keyword, we have the condition defined, and we have the code. We have the instructions defined. And for example, if I take, I have the, suppose if I have the variable count that has got the value initially as 1. Okay, now if I have the while loop defined and I have the condition till the count value is greater than or equal to 3, you have to print the value of count. Now see, you're not increasing or decreasing the value of count, so this condition is always going to become true. 1 will always be less than 3, and then this is going to enter into a, since it is equal to, this may be a false and it will not run at least once also. But if we consider only the greater than sign, this is going to like this will continue to print the values. So to manage the while loop and to not enter into the infinite loop condition where we have a lot of memory usage and it falls into a lot of step problems, we always need to have the increment or the decrement operator for a particular variable so that the value get changes, and there is a time or there is a moment in the loop when the condition becomes false and the while loop is taken off. Any doubts still here? Okay, so if I consider the loop control statements, we have the break statement that will exit the loop prematurely. That means whenever you have the break keyword used inside the loop, that will like kick off you from the loop without thinking what all the previous like conditions have been done. Now, if I see the another break loop control statement continue, that will just skip your current iteration. That will skip your current iteration means the iteration that has got the current iteration will only be missed. The other iterations will be taken up as it was being told. Now pass will do nothing, it is just used as a placeholder to keep the things going on. Now, suppose in this example we have taken that for a particular iterable variable number in the range 5, like range 5 is a function that has got the values 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 will not be included. Whenever the number is equal to 3, you have to break the loop and you have to bring the value of the number. That's it. Now we have the nested loops defined. In the nested loops, what do we do? We have a loop inside the loop. A loop inside a loop, that means we have these some functions. We have a loop is defined inside the loops column. Now it is just basically used for the multi-dimensional data. When you have the rows and columns, these types of data, so we use loops, nested loops basically. Now, for example, if I see for I in range 3, so I is going to have the value 0, 1, and 2. Then we have for j in range 2, that means j is going to have the value 0, 1. You have to print I comma j. You have to print I comma j, that means like for each value of I you're going to have, for example, suppose for the value of I equal to 0, you're going to have the value 0 and 1. So this is going to give you the pair of the combination of the values of I and j. Now if I see loop with else clause, the else block will return if the loop completes normally. For example, this loop, if this loop is properly executed, it will enter into the else part and it will simply say loop is completed. This is just like, this is even not mandatory to use, but it's just used to make that your loop has properly been executed. Okay. Any doubts still here for the loop? If you have no doubt, then we will proceed with the practical part. Students, if you have any doubt, please say, else we will move further. Since you have no doubt, we'll move ahead. Okay. If I say if a count equals to install, okay, I'll simply say while count is greater than, sorry, greater than 3, I'll simply say just print the count. So for the initial value of count, the condition is true and the value of count is printed. Now for the second part, you have got the count value increased by 1, that means you have the count value 1. Since 1 is still less than 3, we have the value of count to be printed. Now for the third iteration, we have count value 2 is also less than 3, we have got the value of printed for the count. Now if I see for the fact that now when the count value of 3 becomes, like when the count value becomes 3, the loop will not be run because the condition becomes false. Now if I just copy this code and I'll try to see CQ with the else clause also. Okay. Else print, okay, so basically the value of the count when reach the 3, the condition becomes false and the loop will be called off, and the else clause will be executed stating that the loop has executed properly. So if I say count equals to 0, okay, okay, just a minute, I'll just copy the same code. Yeah, okay, and I just don't include this one. So this 0 will always be less than 3 and it will keep printing the value of count. This is wrong. This will basically result into the infinite loop that we don't want. So it is always suggested that you should not use this type of loop as it may have an ever ending infinite loop where the conditions are never set, are never become false and you have to forcefully terminate the compiler. Okay. Now we'll see the for loops. Suppose for I in 5. Okay, I'll just print this I. So you've got the values of I. For first iteration, you have the I value as 0. For the second iteration, you've got the value of I to be 1. For the second iteration, you've got the value of I to be 2. And like similarly, it will keep on going on. Now, suppose if I say LST equals to, okay, now if I say simply just print, okay, so you have got all the items of a list. If I just try to use it with the else clause also. I simply have the else block here. Suppose that. Okay, if I have the else block displayed here, I'll simply say print list iteration completed. So it's saying the list iteration is completed and your for loop is executed properly. Now we will see the nested loops. Suppose for I in range 3 or j in range 2. Print I comma j. Shift. So for the value of I equal to 0, we have two combination of j, 0, 1. Similarly, for the value of I to be 1, we have the two combination of j. Similarly, for the value of I, we have got the two operation, two combination for j. So hence we have got the six total combinations for the value of I comma j. Now we'll see the loop control statements. Okay, first we'll see the first we'll see the first I will see the continue statement. Suppose I have a list. Simply say for I in lst if I equal to 3, continue. Okay, print ti. Okay, so this was there. So for the when we were learning about the loop control statements, we saw that the continue statement Basically, it skips the current iteration and else all the iterations will be taken. Now let's start this. So when the value of I reaches 3, that iteration was only skipped, else all other iteration were kept same. Now similarly in place of this, if I use the break. So after we reach the point where the I value equals to 3, we just saw that it does not complete all the other iterations after it. See, and if I use here the pass. So this there was no such. It was just to make just like pass control statement has done nothing, but it's just used as a placeholder. So this was the basic difference between the loop control statements. I use the same piece of code to define you the functioning of each of these control statements so that you get a better understanding. For the continue, you got it that it is just used to skip the current iteration. For the break, it is used to skip that iteration as well as the all other iterations after it. And pass does not skip any of the iterations, it is just used as a placeholder. Okay, any doubt till here for the loops? If you have any doubt, please say. Otherwise, we will move ahead with the tuples. If you have any doubt, please. Students, if you have any doubt, please say. Or if you don't, if you have no doubt, please even update that also. Okay, I'll just wait for one or more minute. If you have any doubt, or if you just don't have any doubt, please update her, and then we'll continue with the tuples. Okay, so since you have noted out, then we will continue with the topics. So if I see tuples, so tuples are immutable data types in Python. Immutable data types in Python means you cannot change once the data entries has been done. You cannot like modify the elements inside the tuples. You can store the elements of different data types just like the list. Just like the list, tuples are also ordered and you can allow and they can allow the duplicate values. Now you can create the tuples by using the parentheses to define a collection. Tuple elements can be accessed using the indexing. Tuple has also got the indexes and you can use the indexes to actually access the elements inside the tuple. Now we will see how you can create a tuple. So basically you can create a tuple using the parentheses. Here I have created a tuple which has got the values 1, 2 and 3 and it has includes inside the parentheses. You can also create the tuple using like without parentheses that does not gives in any error. But if you want to have a single element inside a tuple, you just not need to have just a one there. You need to always separate that with the comma. Now, if I say you how you can use the tuple constructor, now we'll see how you can simply use the tuple constructor. So this 1, 2, comma 3 enclosed inside the square braces is a list. How you can use this to convert it to the tuple using the tuple constructor. Now you will see how you can access the tuple elements. So you can access the tuple elements. You can access the tuple elements using the indexes. So the first element has got the index 0, the other elements have got the index. Similarly, increment with 1, and the last element has got an index n minus 1, or if we can come on to the negative indexing, where it has got the index minus 1. So if I say, if I say that how you can like select a subset from a tuple or to select some of the elements from a tuple, it can be done using the slicing. So you have to just write the name of the tuple enclosed inside the you just have to mention the indexes that are enclosed inside the square braces. Suppose if I consider 1 is to 3, then from the index 1 till the index 2 it is going to return the elements. Now we have the tuple operations. So the tuple operations are basically the such as your concatenation. That means you just have to merge two tuples. If you want to repeat a particular tuple n number of times, you just have to multiply it with n. Then if you want to see whether a particular element is there inside a tuple or not, you just have to use for item in tuple. In is a membership operator here. Now if you want to have the length of a tuple, you just have to use the length function. Now if I say, now let's come on to the tuple methods. So in tuple methods, we have the count function that will count the occurrence of a particular element inside a tuple. And when we have the index function which is going to return the index of a particular element inside a tuple. We have the minimum and the maximum functions which is going to find out the smallest and the largest value from a particular tuple. This will tuple constructor is going to convert the right variable to a tuple. Now we have the packing and unpacking in tuple. Packing my tuple is like you just have to like aggregate all the values inside the tuple. Unpacking is like how you can particular like unpack the elements inside a tuple. Now we have just got the asterisk to capture the multiple values. Okay, so this was about the tuple. The basic difference that lies between the tuples and the list is that lists are mutable where the tuples are not mutable. List can also have the duplicate values, tuples can also have the duplicate values. Okay, any doubt till here? Students, do you have any doubt for the tuples? Then we will see the practical session for the tuple. If you have no doubt, students, if you have no doubt, please address here. If you have no doubt, please say, students. Is my students? Is my screen visible to you? Is my screen visible to you? Okay, I think my screen is visible to you. Now we'll continue with the tuples practical part. Any doubt till here with the tuples? Okay, if you have no doubt, then we'll proceed further. So, we'll just have the things done about the tuple. If I say my tuple, the tuple AX is equal to. Okay, okay. Suppose I have this. I'll just print this. Okay. Now, if I just want to see whether what type of a data type it is, we'll just print the type of this. So basically your A belongs to a class of tuples where A is containing the values 1, comma 2, comma 3 and is like it's still a tuple. Like you can just like see what type of data type it is using the type function. Now if I move on further, we'll see. Okay. Now if I print A0, I'll get the first element. So in this way you can use the indexes to print the values for tuple. Now if I choose the iteration here for I in A, print I. So this is going to list all your items that are present inside a tuple. Now suppose I have a tuple T1 equals to 1, comma 2, comma 3. Okay. I'll just have the tuple 2 that has got the value 4, comma 5, comma 6, comma 6. Okay. If I simply say print T1 plus T2. Okay. If I say just say simply T1 plus T2. Okay. Hmm. So this is going to combine the two tuples. Suppose if I want to concatenate or want to, this is what is auto concatenation. So if you want to see, for if you want to create the nested tuples, we just have this T1. We'll just have the tuple 3 3, which is a nested tuple. We just have T1 comma T1, and we'll just print this T3 to see the results. Okay, so this is going to create the nested tuple. Now if I want to repeat a particular tuple, suppose I want to repeat the tuple T1, I'll simply say print T1 star 3. This is going to repeat the tuple. If I want to do the say T1, comma, just print this. So this is going to result to the elements from the index 1 to the index last. Okay. Suppose if I write this way. This slicing index is basically going to reverse the list. It's going to reverse the list, meaning it is just going to give you the change the reverse order of the list. Now, if you want to delete a tuple, see for your knowledge, you cannot delete a particular item from the tuple, but you can delete the entire tuple. So to delete the entire tuple, I simply write delete t. Suppose t3. Okay. So this has deleted the tuple t3. Suppose if you want to print, if you want the length of the tuple, simply say t1. It has got the three items inside it. Now we'll see how you can convert a list to a tuple. Suppose I have a list. We have got the indexes 1 and 2. Okay. Parent. I'll just print this t. Okay. I'll just have a t tuple here, and t is equals to okay. So this your a which was initially a list is now get converted to a tuple. Now we will see how you can have the loops inside a tuple. Suppose if I have the n value as 5, okay, I'll just have this code. Now if I have for I in range n, okay, and I'll just say t equals to t comma. This is going to create like a nested tuple, or you can have this is a tuple which has the only single element inside it. Now I'll just print this t. Okay, so let's define t somewhere. What should be t here? So if I say t is equal to 1. Okay, I'll just print this t now. So this has been created the nested tuple. The tuple initially that we got created was 1 comma. This is a tuple that has got the single element. Now if we keep on iterating it, we will find it that it has got the that it has been converted into a nested tuple. So this was all about the tuple. If you have any doubt till here with the tuples, please say right now. If you have any doubt with tuples, please let me know. Since you have no doubt, we'll continue with the strings now. Have any doubt? Please let me know. Okay. So if you see the strings, so string is basically the sequence of characters. If I say the sequence of characters, also string is also immutable like the tuples. List was mutable, but this is not mutable. It is also immutable. Now, as I say, each character in a string can be accessed by its index position. The very first character of the string is called the index 0. The other elements are called the n minus 1, n minus 1. Now, if I say if you want to return the SI value of that particular character, you have to use the order function. I told you it in the first session of this workshop. Now, if you want to get the character for that particular SI value, you have to use the character function. Now, if I say if you want to find the length of the string that you've used, you have to particularly use the length function. Now, we have got some of the functions of the string. This is basically the splicing techniques. So, if you have got a string name word, so this simple colon is going to return you the complete string in ascending order. Word with indexes p ratio q is going to start from the position p and is going to return it till the q minus 1 position. Similarly, for the p colon is going to return you the string from the index p till the last index. Then for the colon q is going to return you the indexes from the first position till the position q minus 1. Double colon is going to completely return you the complete string again. If it is p is to q is to k, then we say that it is going to return you the elements from the index p to the index q with the skip of k elements in between. Now, if I say p double colon k, that means it is going to return you the element from the index p till the last index with the skip of k character. Similarly, if I write colon q colon k, it is going to return you the elements from the first till the q minus 1 position with the skip of k characters. Now, if I say if I have the double colon k, here the double colon k means that you have to return the complete string with the skip of k characters in between. Now, if you want to reverse the string, you just simply have to use double colon minus 1. This double colon minus 1 is going to reverse the order of the string. The very first character is going to become the last character, and the last character is going to become the first character. Suppose if I say PIE Python, this is going to concatenate the string. If we write the two strings PIE and then we write the Python and we do not have any operator in between, it is just going to simply concatenate the string. Okay, now if I see the string functions, this was that the things that was I was teaching to you before was the string slicing. Now this is something. Now, if you have a string that has got the name var and it holds the value hello text. Now, if you want to convert it into the uppercase, you simply have to write var dot upper. Var dot upper is going to convert all of your string characters into the uppercase characters. Var dot lower is going to convert the all characters into the lowercase characters. Similarly, if you want to capitalize, this capitalize function is going to convert the first letter of the other characters. Simply, if I want to write var dot split function is going to split the two words or the whatever the number of words will it be with the comma. Suppose if I want to write var dot strip, this is going to remove all the leading and the training characters from a string. If I simply write a var dot count and I just put a character inside it as a parameter, it is going to return me the count of that particular letter inside the string. Suppose if I write I, this I, how many times this I has occurred inside the string will be appeared on your screen. Suppose if I find var dot find e is basically going to find the first occurrence of this letter e and where it has been positioned, that index will be displayed there. Now, this is alpha function is basically going to tell you whether your string is containing only the alphabets or something else also. Similarly, if I write var dot is digit is going to return that whether your string or your data is only containing the digits or the numeric functions or it is containing something else also. Now, if I see the var dot title function is going to make the upper is going to make the first letter of every word to be in capital letters. Now, if we continue with the string functions, we have the var dot partition. This is going to basically divide your string into three equal parts, and it's going to have a delimiter with the comma. Okay, now it's var dot r find is going to tell you at what index this word text is being placed. Now, if I say var dot is low, it's going to see that but your your string is in lowercase or not. It is just going to result you in the boolean value that is true or false. Similarly, for the is uppercase. Is uppercase, we just simply say that whether the particular string is in uppercase or not. Suppose var dot stat is also going to tell you whether the first letter of your string is in uppercase or not. Similarly, for the is space is going to check whether your string comprises of the white spaces or not. Similarly, if I say var dot is alphanumeric, this is going to check whether your string is a combination of the alphanumeric composition or not, whether it is comprising of the alphabets and the numerics or not. Okay, so if I say here var is equal to hello text. This var is equal to hello text is going to check whether your var dot start with is starting with a particular substring or not. If it is not starting, it is going to give you false. If it is starting with that particular word or a string, it is going to tell you true. Similarly, ends with it is going to tell you whether a particular string is ending with that particular substring or not. If it is ending, it is true. If it is not ending, that means it is going to result in false. Then we have the var.encode function. It is going to return you the encoded form of string, and similarly your dot decode is going to return you the decoded form of string. Nine. Now, if I see some of the interesting string functions, we have that. Suppose you have the string one, string two, and string three, and you have the max function. So it is going to return you the highest value ordered alphabetically. So if you just going to return, you just going to arrange the string in the alphabetics order, and it's going to return you the max order. Similarly, for the case of minimum value, it is going to return you the minimum value that are ordered alphabetically. And if you want to check for the membership operator in case of the strings, you can just use the in operator. This is a membership operator. Any doubt with this? Any doubt with the string? If you have any doubt with the strings, please let me know. Since you have no doubts, then we will continue with the practical part. Okay, so if I see the practical part for the tuples, sorry, strings. Okay. So if I see I have a string s and has got a value. Okay. If I just print the type of s, so it belongs to a class of string. Suppose if I want to access the characters from zero, I simply say print s1. Okay. So I simply say print s2. It's going to return me the character that are placed at that particular index. Okay. So if we go on to the slicing, if I say print s 1 is to 4, this is going to return me that. If I write print s double, it's going to return me the whole string. If I simply say print s colon minus 1, it's just going to reverse the order of the string. Now, if I come on to the string immutability, so string in string you cannot change the element inside the string. You just have to, you can just only like entirely delete a string, or you can like do it like for the entire string. You cannot change a particular character of a string. So suppose you want to delete the entire string. Suppose I say delete s. So it has deleted the string s. Now, if you want to print the length of a string, I'll just define this here first. S is equal to okay. So the string S has got the 5 characters. Now if I say print S dot row. Okay, now if I say print S dot upper. So it is converted into the uppercase. Now if I say I have a string S is equal to Python, it's fine. Okay, I'll just say print F dot S dot replace fun with awesome. Okay. Okay. So this is now has replaced your fun with the awesome or interesting. Now we'll see the concatenation string. We have got the S1 string as hello. We have got S2 as world. I'll just have the string S3 equals to S1 plus S2 print S3. So it has concatenated the two strings. If you want to repeat the strings, you can do it in this way. And S star 3. So Python is 1, Python is 1, Python is 1 is repeated 3 times. Any doubt till here? If you have no doubt till here, then we can close up the session. I'll just wait for a minute more. If you have no doubt, then we can close this session. We'll see you in the day 3. We will basically cover the dictionaries, sets, see the functions, how you can define your own user defined functions in Python, how you can have the recursion in Python, like how you can use a particular function number of times and you can do not have to write it again and again. We'll see some of these Stack Overflow problems also. And we'll see how you can have your own function module defined inside the Python, how you can call it. Okay, till then you can like, have probably done with the session today, so you can just have the doubts if you want, or we can see up in the next session as well. Thank you so much.